There have been some major changes to the wildfires going on across California, so I wanted to give you guys a quick update on what the latest information is telling us, as well as look at the fire weather forecast so we know what we can expect in the future. Now, the first thing I want to do is actually show you kind of the big picture of what this actually looks like from space. And it's simply unbelievable because you can actually pick out the different plumes going on across really the entire state of California. Here you can see the plume that's part of the Lnu Lightning Complex up in Sonoma County, and Napa County for that matter. And right here you can see the plume in Sonoma. Right here you can actually see the plumes coming up from Napa. And then right down here by Henry Cove State Park, that's where we have the Scu Lightning Complex. And then over here in Santa Cruz we have the CZU Lightning Complex. So there's a lot going on. We're going to dive into all three of these fires in the next few minutes. So the first thing I want to do is really take a look at the Lnu Lightning Complex, because this seems to be really the most critical situation going on with regards to wildfire in California right now. So if we just go in and look at the cold hard facts right now, as of right now, it's burned 131,000 acres. This is way up from yesterday. Yesterday when I looked at this, I believe it was at maybe 45,000, so it really grew throughout the evening yesterday. That's when temperatures were hot, humidity was extremely low, and really this fire almost doubled and tripled in size. So it's 0% contained right now. That's not what you want to see. Here you have the huge list of evacuation orders. There are too many for me to even try to say, so I'm going to put the link in the description so you can stay updated with those. The number one thing CAL FIRE says is it helps them a lot if you actually evacuate when they tell you to, because it really just makes their job easier. So this is double what it was yesterday. Yesterday it was about 50 structures destroyed. Now it is up to 105. There are 580 personnel working on it, 9 crews. We got 8 helicopters, 69 engines, 28 dozers, and 27 water tenders. Now, the next thing I want to do, you'll notice that in that first map I showed you, it wasn't including any of the area around Vacaville. So that was the big story yesterday evening, that the fire was working its way into Vacaville. But if you actually look at what the maps were showing you, it still looked like it was about 10-15 miles away. So this is showing the fire outline in the Lnu complex 2 days ago. Now, I can click this and you'll see how far it moved just yesterday. You can see that it has now moved into the city of Vacaville. One thing I will say about this line here, it's based on satellite information. So this is not the confirmed fire perimeter. This is just the heat perimeter that satellites have picked up from space. So just because your house is in this zone does not mean that your house is gone. This is from a satellite, and again, it is not confirmed. The big story that people were talking about yesterday was the fact that the fire did in fact jump 80. And you can see that it's getting closer and closer to really the edges of Vacaville. I heard from a number of different sources that the fire has actually worked its way into northern Vacaville. So as I get more information on that, I will continue recording these videos and giving you guys the latest updates. Something that you don't want to see is these little spots that are popping up here. Yesterday was actually a red flag warning up in Vacaville, and luckily that red flag warning ended this morning. If you don't know what that means, it basically means high winds. And this is exactly what happens when you get those kind of high winds. If you have burning embers or leaves, what the winds can do is actually pick those up, throw them elsewhere, and then start new fires. And then those little fires can turn into bigger fires. The other main thing I want to point out on this map, other than the fact that by the heat signature it looks like it is creeping closer and closer to the city of Vacaville, if I turn back off what it did yesterday, you'll notice that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different fires. Now, what happened yesterday is it appears all these fires actually just combined into basically one gigantic fire with one other little one over here. So that is not exactly encouraging, but I know CAL FIRE is working hard. They've deployed basically every single resource possible to fighting this blaze. So now that we've seen what it looks like the fire has done over the last day, let's actually take a look at the forecast for the next couple of days. Now in this forecast, there's three main things that you want to focus on when it comes to fire weather. It's temperature, winds, and humidity. Temperature, that's pretty self-explanatory. The hotter it is, the easier it is for a fire to increase where it's burning. Winds are bad because, like I explained earlier, it can pick up the fire, throw it elsewhere, start a bunch of new fires. Humidity is also a really bad one, as we saw last night. The humidity stayed really low throughout the night, and I think that's really what played a big role in how it increased in size so much over the overnight hours. So if we look in here, this is actually encouraging. As of right now, you can see this is Lake Berryessa right here. And right now the winds are pretty low. That is exactly what you want to see. Here's Vacaville down here. And if we actually click on here, you can see it's 4-knot winds. That is great news. The bad news is it is going to be picking up later in the day. So it shows it's going to be picking up to 9 knots at around 8 p.m. If you want to see the silver lining when it comes to winds, obviously it's not good that the wind's picking up. But the silver lining is these winds are coming from the ocean, which means they will be bringing in a little bit of moisture with them, as opposed to when winds come in from the valley. So looking at the high temperatures, you can see it's hanging around the 98 this afternoon, 99 Friday, 99 Saturday, 96 on Sunday. So the high temperatures are hanging around. The good news is this is down from yesterday. Yesterday there was an extreme heat warning. You can see there's no longer a warning because it's no longer in the triple digits. And this is probably the thing I'm most excited about. That red flag warning is gone. When you have extreme winds, that makes these fires way harder to fight because it basically just makes the fire behavior very unpredictable, and it can lead to a really fast rate of spread. This is the other good news that we have. So last night, remember I said the humidity stayed below 30%. And I believe that is probably the main reason this fire expanded as much as it did last night. You can see that tonight, though, it's going to be going up to 50% and 60%. That's still not as high as you'd want it, but it's almost double what it was last night. So that is really going to help firefighters fight this blaze. You can see temperatures are basically the same in the overnight hours, 69 and 70, and winds appear to be pretty constant throughout this entire time. So overall, I would say the forecast is encouraging. The temperatures are lower than what they've been in the last couple of days. Winds are remaining the same, if not going down a little bit, and humidity overnight is going up. So all those factors really are telling me that things are likely going to get better. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is the Scu Lightning Complex. This one really increased yesterday as well, and they have over 1,000 people on this one right now. So the Scu Lightning Complex, it is now up to 137,000 acres, and there are 5 counties part of this: Santa Clara, Alameda, Stanislaus, and it's only 5% contained. Again, when it comes to evacuations, the link is in the description. If you see your area on this list, I strongly recommend that you comply with the evacuation. So you can see there were 2 injuries so far, over 1,000 personnel, 21 crews, and 4 helicopters, 66 engines, 26 dozers, and 32 water tenders. These numbers are way up from yesterday, so you can see CAL FIRE is really using everything they possibly can to extinguish this fire. Now, the one I really want to dive into, though, is the CZU Complex. This is the one that's down just in Santa Cruz. And you can see, based on this map, it doesn't really have any fire perimeter for the CZU Complex. That's why I will show you the heat signature map in a second. First, let's just go through the cold hard facts. We got 40,000 acres. That's up from 10,000 acres yesterday. It's been active for 2 days. I live in this region right here up in the mountains, and I can tell you yesterday there was ash falling on my house all day long. The sky was orange. I think I fire cleared for about 8 hours yesterday, trying to get all the bushes and branches away from the cabin that I'm staying at. So if you're around this area, you gotta take this thing seriously, because you can see it's almost 4 times the size it was yesterday. So let's actually just take a look at what this has been doing in the last couple days, because you can see that map on PG&E's website doesn't really show that anything is going on here. So this is what the heat signature map is saying. I think that was the one little dot we had on the other map, but you can see this fire is extremely big and it's growing in size. Again, this isn't the confirmed fire perimeter, so if your house is in this area, don't panic yet. This is just what the satellite is picking up based on heat and heat intensity. So you can see that it is creeping its way closer and closer to these towns. It's getting closer to 9. And I know 20,000 people have been evacuated in this area. So again, if you live anywhere remotely in this region, be sure to click the link in the description to check and see if the area where you live is on that list. I will say though that it seems that the wind is a lot better today. Like I said, I live right around here, and the wind seems pretty low right now. As well as the air quality is much better than it was yesterday. The reason for that, you can actually see on the satellite image, there's not much wind, so the smoke has a way of really settling in the low elevation places. Not good if you live in the valley, that's going to be some bad air quality, but good if you're looking at it from a fire behavior perspective. Low winds is certainly a good thing. So right now you can see, if we actually zoom in here, Ben Lomond, 88 degrees right now. You can see the winds aren't all that bad though, 4 knots. That's exactly what you want to see. Just like in Napa, they're mostly coming in from the ocean, so it's going to bring in a little bit of humidity with it. Now if we go to 8 p.m., you can see the winds are a little more encouraging here than they were looking in Napa. This is just going to go up to 6 knots, and we could actually look at the graph of that in a second. So again, 96 degrees this afternoon, that's the high. Friday, 97. And then Saturday, some good news, it's going to be dropping down to 92 and 91. Still hot, but certainly not the triple-digit degrees we've been seeing the last couple of days. So really, this afternoon and Friday are going to be the hottest days. Let's look at what the winds are doing. You can see they're below 10 knots. That's pretty encouraging. And when it comes to humidity, it's going up all the way to 68, maybe 70% tonight. So that's really going to help firefighters be able to battle this blaze. So I will just go back to the wide view of this map so you can see what we're looking at right now. I will continue to make these videos as I get more and more information. And I guess if there's anything I could say, these fires were literally just a perfect storm. We had a heat wave going on for about a week where it was 100-degree temperatures all over this region. We had a tropical storm push a bunch of energy into the area, sparking hundreds of lightning fires all over the state. CAL FIRE's resources have been spread thin, so that's really what has created this terrible situation that we're in. However, the good news is that from a fire weather perspective, I would say things are looking up. Let's hope the forecast holds true, and good luck to anybody who lives in these areas. Thanks for watching.